Hey everyone, so I am doing a Nintendo retrospective for their 125th anniversary. I am playing my top 25 games leading up to my very first list video. My top 25 Nintendo games. It doesn't need to be Nintendo developed, but it does need to be Nintendo published. And in today's case, we have the exceptionally Japanese Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. So now, this game, it has some problems. It has never been re-released, which I think is an absolute crime because the Game Boy games have been re-released, but not this one. So I don't believe that this is the first Mystical Ninja game to be released in America, because I believe the Game Boy games, at least one of the Game Boy games, was. However, this one is the one that I played. I didn't know the ones for the Game Boy existed. Hell, I didn't even know the sequel for this game existed for a very long time when I was a kid. This game is unapologetically Japanese. Old school Japanese. So, I believe it takes place in the Edo period. It is very, very, very Japanese. Ebisumaru, why? You've taken all your clothes off. I thought that I could negotiate a discount. Oh, I pressed the button. Whoops. The text is gone. Yeah, this game has some issues. It also, I have to emulate it. Well, let me start by saying, I really don't want to. I want to buy this game. I would pay a lot of money for this game. That said, that's me. What I think this game should probably go for is like $8-9 on Virtual Console. As far as I can tell, it's obviously never been on Virtual Console. And I do follow... Get the hell away from me! By the way, he steals from you. I have followed the homebrew scene of Virtual Console, or what people would do. Like, they inject their own games into the Virtual Console so that you can play them on a Wii through the Virtual Console service or through the channels. This game's not even on there that way. So this game... is very hard to emulate. You can even notice a couple of the issues with emulation. This game is not easy. For whatever reason, this pushed the system so hard that even trying to get it to emulate properly is a chore. The officer's duty is to defend the peace of this town. So I just did Sanity's Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, and I was talking about how that game has a story, and that a lot of games from the N64 and PS1 area didn't really do story too much. This one, however, tries really hard to do story. Tries to do its story really hard, but it also does like weird Japanese things. Plasma or Plasma. Yes, I want to talk to you. All right, well, he's supposed to be the fortune teller, but anyways, this game does really weird things. It is very, 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 very Japanese. It is very Japanese in mythos, in story, in presentation. And the music is absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. Bum ba bum 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 ba da. There we go. I could crawl. I don't know. This game is just weird. This came after Super Mario 64, so it has some more. It pushes the hardware a lot harder. It handles camera better than Super Mario 64, in my opinion. It handles camera better than most 3D games of the time. The draw distance, look at that, is actually phenomenal. And also the issues with this game stems from apparently its sky. You can see how the sky moves oddly. Apparently they chose some interesting ways to handle the sky in this game that makes it apparently hard to emulate, and I would assume why hasn't been re-released, though I honestly actually don't know the reasoning why it hasn't been re-released. That said, it is also very like I said, unapologetically Japanese. I don't believe it sold very well, and I think that they don't think it would sell on the virtual console. But I am telling you right now, I know lots of people who love this game. Me, I would probably, if I could buy it on my Wii U right now, I would pay $15 straight up for it this moment. Well, okay, maybe next paycheck I would pay for it, but you get my point. I would pay for this. Oh yeah, by the way, the plot of the story is aliens. He's a big star in the US. Next, he's going to be in a movie. He's a model of the American Dream. Impact. By the way, that's the name of our robot. Yes, this game has robots. It's got mecha. It's got I forget what it's called. It is like Japanese play style. We'll call this present to you. Map of Japan, free of charge. Step outside of mini building and press the start button. You can switch to the map with the Z button. Okay. It's got the Japanese style of theater, of stage. Just holy crap. Okay, cool. The menu is not glitched out. That's a bonus. Boom, 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 boom. And you can go to most of these places. You explore most of Japan. That's what you do. You get a dragon to ride later on. There's an entire stage boss battle that takes place on a dragon. Like, honestly, absolutely fantastic. Also, I take that back. This is not the second game to be released in America. This is actually probably the third, maybe even potentially the fourth. I say that because I also remember the Super Nintendo game, which is 2D, not too similar to this, but kind of similar in presentation, with good music, very, very Japanese, and then obviously Goemon is the main character. But you didn't have Eba Masaru to... what button is it? It's not... The buttons are not exactly right. Do I have to... Excuse me, not be moving when I go to do that? He's in the game for the second player, but he's not... Okay, it is down on the C for the C buttons. He's not a playable... He is a playable character in the Super Nintendo game, but he is as the second player. I remember renting this game. There are games that, when renting was a thing, that you just rented over and over and over and over. And this is a game that I rented over and over and over and over and over. I rented this game several times, even when I started to try and get an N64 at my mother's on my own. This was like one of the first games. What's going on up there? A strange UFO's come to town. A UFO? You mean like a flying saucer? Does that mean the aliens have come? I believe she's our girlfriend, sort of. I just can't settle down until I eat. So I'll have some kiwi dumpling, iced tea, custard rice cake, and some cinnamon rice crackers. Whoops, I forgot my wallet. I'm senile. So yes, I love Japanese culture. God, his eyes. Arf, arf, help me. Arf, arf. I better hurry up and hide somewhere or else they'll take me into their UFO. Arf, arf. It scares me just to think about it. Arf, arf. I'm dating somebody. I'm going to marry somebody who, she went to college in Japan for a semester. She loves Japanese culture. She could speak Japanese. I lost a lot of my Japanese, but I could pick it up. We want to go to Japan. We want to visit Japan. I would love to honeymoon with her in Japan. We would, if we had the opportunity to move to Japan for a time, we'd probably move to Japan. Like, no shit. We love that country and that culture. And anime is a big part of for me too. I love it to death. Get the hell out of my face. So yeah, for me personally, it has a lot of cultural overtones and that's why I like it. This game is in no small part the reason probably why I love Japan. I mean, we knew that games came from Japan, the mystical land, from the Nintendo, the Genesis. I mean, Japan is really the country, and they're the developers who really pushed emergency start blocking use. You can get through by using the chain pipe, which we don't have. They're the ones that really pushed the revival of video games in the 80s. Atari, Americans, caused the crash. In Japanese, the Japanese, they brought it back. So they were always this mystical figure. They made video games popular again. This is like a kind of a window into their culture. But before, you didn't really have... I mean, you had games steeped in Japanese mythology and Japanese culture, even modern Japanese culture, but a lot of them didn't get translated. Most of them didn't come to America. They were probably viewed as very, very limited. I also forgot where I need to go. I need to go to the castle, but I forgot where the castle is. It's been a while since I've honestly played this game, but it still stands. This is number 4 on my list of Nintendo games. This is by far, I've beaten this game twice or 3 times. Plasma, I swear I needed to talk to you, but I guess not. But right, so the games that did make it here to America, some were kind of bad, some were good, some were poorly translated. I mean, there were a lot of translations. There were a lot of games that were translated from Japanese to English. No doubt. There were lots, most of the RPGs, Final Fantasy games. So I'm not saying that games were never translated, but I am saying that games that dealt specifically with Japanese culture were not translated very often. This type of game specifically was not translated too much. This was a game that's, probably very, like I said, considered very niche. They didn't want to spend the time. Translating Japanese to English is not easy. Not to mention cart limitations. Games, the Japanese language has so many characters, but it's very compact. You can get a lot out of a little with that language, whereas in English, the letter only means one thing. Now, you can create multiple words, multiple different variations of spelling to create your words, but you could have 3 characters or even 1 character in Japanese mean an entire word, whereas most words that are going to have actual meaning or that are going to create sentence structure are going to be at least 3 or 4 letters plus. Anything lower is like an a, an and, an or, a but. They help the sentences, yes, but they don't really have too much meaning behind them. Damn it, why can't I make these jumps? They don't have much meaning behind them, like words, like video or game, for example. Gatekeeper. Well, the only way to pass this checkpoint is to get the super pass from the Lord. Right, that's what I'm trying to do. Or no, that's what I do later. That's after I save him, right? This is Oedo Town. It's where the real Edo people live. Right. So it was right there. That's the turn off. Your eyes are freaking me out. Pam. This is a warning from the messenger. If you're going to save in the adventure diary, go to the inn. As long as you keep an adventure diary, you can keep save of all your adventures. Go to now. Wait, what? Did I read that all fucked up, or was that really how it was? But yes, so say you have an English or a Japanese script that takes up, say, 5 megabytes of internal space, and you translate it to English, suddenly you have a script that takes 10, 15 megabytes. That's why ROM hacking and translating games has become popular with ROMs and all that, because we can expand the ROM past its original set generally. Not always, but most ROMs can be hacked so that the space that they use can be increased. So instead of, a Nintendo or Super Nintendo game taking up 1 megabyte, 4 megabytes, 16 megabytes, 32 megabytes, it can take up more so that it could fit in English script, for example. That wasn't really something that they could do on the carts. They were limited. Now, some English releases of Japanese games did end up having bigger carts. I know some Super Nintendo games went from 4 to 8 megabyte carts, for example, just to fit the English text. So they do it, but it obviously costs them more to produce the higher spaced carts. What the hell? I'll beat you. Give me your rice ball. Hey, so you're here to find out what I have to say. Listen, whenever you visit a town or a village, gather your information by listening to what the people have to say. That is important for you to complete this game. Yeah. This game, though, is just very fun. It's got a pretty decent story. I know that I said in the last video that most games of this era didn't have great stories, but there are some exceptions. I believe they refined it in later generations, the storytelling. The graphics are not that great. Obviously, that is literally a sprite of a tree. You can see it turning. Like, yeah, that's not... Yeah, the music is great. It controls pretty well. I mean, I'm churning very sharply, but you can kind of see the character slides a little bit. But overall, it is a fun game. I highly suggest picking it up, but it is, however, kind of expensive to pick up the cart. I would have Let's Played this game if I was able to find a cart and get the hookups for my HD PVR to record an N64 game, but those things are gonna have to come later. Or if emulation got better, or the best solution, if I could buy it from Nintendo, I would 100% do that. So Nintendo, if you're watching, I don't play ROMs of your games very often, but I do it when I can't buy the games that I want to play, like this one. I would buy this one and the sequel in a heartbeat on my Wii U. So please, make it happen. Remember, guys, this is episode 22 of A Plan to 26. We are nearing the end. So if you've liked this series, please consider subscribing, thumbsing it up, and sending it to your friends. I would greatly appreciate it, and it would help me out a lot. If you've missed the previous episodes in this series, I would highly suggest you go back and watch them, and subscribe for the continuation of the series. Remember, guys, play more games, and I will see you next time. Have a good day.